They say that the difference between men and boys is the size of their toys. Well, they're wrong. Because, of course, it's bikes that make the very best toys for grown-up boys and girls, and they're not really that large at all, especially in the price tag department. Would you believe you can own any one of this trouser-stiffening trio for around 10 grand? In fact, I urge you to go out tomorrow and sell a kidney so you can own one of these glorious Triumph Daytonas. But if you feel that's a tad excessive, then what if you had, say, half that amount, £5,000? Surely you're saying you couldn't get a machine with anything like the excitement or appeal of one of these. Well, of course you can, and coming up are no less than 5 fire-in-your-belly bikes for just 5 grand. The Ducati Monster Dark, matte black minimalism on wheels. It's a determinedly traditional way of making a motorbike. You take an industrial section of yellow scaffold, a hooligan of a V-twin engine, and with no protection from wind or weather, it feels like a proper bike. Light and flickable, with a great grunty engine and an addictive exhaust note, the Ducati begs you to grab a fistful of throttle, and you probably will. On paper, it doesn't look like you get that much go from your 600cc's when compared to Japanese machinery. Well, somehow, 50 horsepower here feels like a whole lot more. The Duke is a city slicker with style and comfort. The perfect thing to impress your mates down the park. Chrome. You can't help but stare as the Dragstar sits there shimmering silver. You'll think it's a Harley, and that's what they want you to think. But it is in fact a Yamaha. The Dragstar uses the latest sport bike technology to squeeze as much go from its 650cc V-twin as American-made bikes twice the size. And it handles better than it has any right to. But don't get carried away, because on a Dragstar, you don't ride, you glide. Silky shaft drive, souffle soft suspension, and a saddle big enough for Barry White. Make riding the Dragstar as relaxing as a hot bath with the Bee Gees. On a Harley-Davidson, changing gear is like switching on Blackpool illuminations. On the Dragstar, things aren't nearly as dramatic. If anything, it's a bit too civilised and antiseptic for its own good. The Hells Angels won't be racing to trade in their hogs for one of these. When you buy a Yamaha Dragstar, you have two choices. You can either explain to everyone that no, it isn't actually a Harley-Davidson costing twice as much, or you can just shut up, sit back, and think of the good old US of A. Bikes like these are all about the wind in your hair and the bugs in your teeth. But don't go too fast, or your shades leave a nasty red mark on your nose. And that is not cool. Tall, dark and handsome, my next toy's ideal for riding high. With its long travel suspension, wire wheels and big single-cylinder engine, it's mean and hungry. You know, the French go bonkers for these high off-road style machines. But despite that, the Honda SLR 650 is really rather good. If you're looking for a serious off-roader, you don't want a Honda SLR. In fact, if it were mine, I'd lose the knobbly tyres, stick on some sporty rubber and start having fun. It runs out of puff on long straights and it's no Grand Tourer. But take this Honda on the trip to work and you'll arrive with a great big grin. The real long rider of the pack is the Suzuki GSX 600F, a sports tourer for those who'd really love a Honda VFR or a Ducati ST2 but don't have £9,000. It's one of the most aerodynamic machines on the market, and for 5 grand you're getting an awful lot of machine for your money. The engine is slightly out of character with the rest of the bike. You have to rev it like Billy-O to get it going, and the gear change is almost embarrassingly clunky. But stick it in top and it's just the ticket for relaxed transcontinental touring for two. These four represent stupendous value for money. The Honda surprised me. It's a superb city bike and an even better B-Roads blaster. Predictably, I love the Ducati, although I do think that yellow frames look better in a kiddie's playground. But if it was my £5 grand, well, I wouldn't spend it on any of them. Because this is the biggest bargain in biking. Once in a while, you come across a bike that is so good, it makes the hairs on your tongue stand on end. The Yamaha 600 Phaser is such a bike. The Phaser has the sexy aggression of the Ducati, the in-your-face attitude of the Dragstar, the grin factor of the Honda and the stamina of the Suzuki. Basically, it's as good as the best bits of all the other bikes, and then it's a bit better. Performance, handling, braking style, everything conspires to tell you that this is a must-have bike. And incredibly, it's only £4,500. That is a lot of bike for the money. That is my kind of bike. Truth is that these bikes aren't toys. Well, they are, but they're also practical, sensible, affordable alternatives to a second car. I don't believe I just said that. Promise me you won't tell anyone.